I know. I'm saying I just. Okay. Torah Or Chaf Aleph, Parshas Vayeitzei. The pasuk says, "V'shavti v'shalom al beis avi." V'shavti v'shalom al beis avi. Yaakov says, "If you return me peacefully to my father's house, v'oya Hashem lila lekim, and Hashem will be my God. V'heaven azayse shesamti matzeva, and this stone that I have placed as a monument, yeh beis lekim, will be a home of Hashem." That's the simple meaning of the pasuk. So basically he's saying the Evan, the stone, should be a Beis Hashem. What's the connection of a stone with name Hashem? The meaning that when Havaya will be Elokim. That's the sequence of the pasuk. Then Hashem lila Elokim, and God will be then the stone will be a home of Hashem. What's the connection between the two things? Lashon or Evan Azeis is Lashon Nekeva. Pasuk says the Evan Azeis, it's feminine. Evan is feminine. That's what it says. It doesn't say Evan Hazeh. It says Evan Azeis. Then it says Yihya, which is masculine. Feminine would be Tihiyah. The pasuk should have said Va'evan Azeis Asher Tihiyah Matzeva, because it's feminine. Umilas Yihi Lashon Zachar. Okay, so we need to understand what's the connection between stones and Beis Hashem, and also what does it mean that why is it part of the pasuk masculine, feminine, part masculine? Love is called now to understand all this. What it says earlier, then he bumped into the place. He took from the stones of the place, put it around his head. Okay, and he made it as a monument. There seems to be an emphasis in the pasuk that he took the stones and put it around his head, and the Evan became a matzeva. Like, what is this aspect of stones over here that the Torah is emphasizing? V'gam also mashahoyu tchilavonim harbe. Like it says, vayikach me'avnei hamokim. At the beginning, the pasuk says he took from the stones of the place, and then it says, vayakib also me an Evan achas, and Yaakov made it into one stone. So Rashi in Chumash asks the question. It says he took from the stones of the place, and then afterwards it said the stone he put under his head. So Rashi says in the Medrash that the stones were fighting. Each stone wanted Yaakov's head on it, so the Hashem said, okay, you know what, stop fighting, I'll make you all into one big stone, and his head's on all of you. But what does it mean in a deeper sense, obviously? At the beginning, okay, so we need to understand this whole stone business. So that's when many stones become one stone, it's a Beis Elokim, the stone issue. So he says, the pasuk opens up that Yaakov went out of Be'er Sheva and went to Charan. Pirush Yaakov b'chinas Yud Akev. Yaakov is a level of Yud Akev, shum b'chinas Hamshachas Chachma Ilah, which is a level of bringing down the ultimate level of Chachma, which is Yud. It says in Chassidus and Kabbalah, the name Yaakov is Yud Akev. Right? That's what it says in the pasuk. Yud, we know, is the level of Chachma. Yud is Chachma, Hey is Bina, Vav the 6 Spheres, and Hey is Malchus. So Yud is Chachma. What's the level of Yaakov? Akev is the heel. That's the lowest of the low. What's the inyan of Yaakov? Yaakov is to bring the Yud, Chachma, into the level of heel, meaning bring the highest level all the way down to the lowest level. And that's what it says, Vayeitzei Yaakov Be'er Sheva, Vayelech Harana. What does it mean? Sheb'chinas Yaakov, hu amam shel Be'er Sheva. He brought down Be'er Sheva, as we'll soon explain, Shulamayla Maila, which is a super great level of Il v'chayer v'gamei chad, which is the Or and the Kelim, it's all one, ad ishtalshus l'mata mata l'madrega yesa tachtena, which is Chodon, they will explain later on. In other words, again, Vayeitzei Yaakov Be'Beersheva Vayelo Chorona. What's the union of Yaakov? Yaakov is to take the highest levels and bring them all the way down to the lowest. That's why his name is Yaakov, bringing Chochmah, the highest of the Sfiras, all the way into Akiv. He said, that's why it said, Vayeitzei Yaakov Be'Beersheva. Yaakov went from Be'ersheva, which is the loftiest of levels, that I'll explain, and he brought that down all the way to Choron. Choron is the lowest of the low. Like Rashi says, Choron is Charein Af Shamakim. Choron means anger. In other words, Choron represents a place of godliness that is so low, so anti-godliness. Hashem is angry at that level. But what does Yaakov Avinu do? He brings down the Yud into Akiv. He brings Be'ersheva, the highest of levels, all the way down even into Choron. So he says, Savi Yeshua's Yaakov. Yeshua's, what is the level of Yeshua's? Him Shin Ayin in the loin, there's 370 lights from above. Whatever, Kabbalistically, there's 375 levels up there. And Yaakov is Mechaber Umamshech Eisam Lemata Bechinas Akvayim. Meaning, Savi Yeshua's Yaakov brings down, Tavi is binding. Yaakov Avinu brings down the level of Yeshua's all the way down to the lowest of levels. In other words, what's Yaakov Avinu's theme? His Avodah is bringing the highest all the way down to the lowest. In all with these psukim that we see. V'gam Yeshua's Miloshin Shah. Besides the fact that Yeshua's means salvation, Yeshua's is the root of the word is Shah. Like it said, Vayisha Hashem el Hevel. Hashem turned. Yeshua's is the turning. Shogam Kim Yerid, Islam Shachas Eri is Baruch Lamata Mata. That's why it says, Sava Yeshua's Yaakov. Yaakov brings down, turns, brings down the highest level of Kedusha all the way down to the lowest level. The problem is when ultimate Kedusha keeps coming down, it ends up into evil. Like we know, evil, everything has to exist from Hashem. How does evil exist? The answer is Kedusha comes down, so covered, concealed, hidden, whatever, to such an extent that it comes down in the form that it denies God. It's so covered that you don't even see it. So he says, when godliness comes down through many concealments, that it comes even to the world of anger, it becomes a world separated from Hashem completely. A place which is Kedusha, which is batal to Hashem, is not where Hashem is angry. When does Hashem get angry? When there's a world of separation that denies the existence of Hashem. So when Kedusha comes all the way down to the extent of Choron, it causes Hashem to be Charein, to be angry. The Avodah of Yaakov is to go into Choron, bringing down the level of Be'ersheva, as I'll explain, the level where the neshama is Mashbi and Vayeitzei, the source, the well of Mashbi and Vayeitzei, when you give the neshama the koyach to be a tzaddik and not a rasha, the ultimate source of the neshama, and that level Yaakov brings down into the lowest of the lowest levels, into Choron. Like it says, Nahar Vayeitzei me'eden, Shubechinas Choch me'ilah. Nahar comes out of Eden, which is the level of Chochmah. Lashke says Hagan, and then but the pasuk says Umisham Yipared. When the river comes out of Eden means enjoyment. Gan Eden is the world of tainug, pleasure. Eden means, in Hebrew, pleasure. Eden represents the pleasure of godliness, which, by the way, ultimate kedusha, the opposite of anger. Anger and pleasure are like seemingly two opposites.
Is the anger as a right word?
Yeah. I mean, not in a physical sense.
What does Hashem get angry?
Well, you have in the pasuk, Vayichar af Hashem vayelach. When Moshe, Aaron and Miriam spoke Lashon Hara against Moshe. So it says Hashem got angry at them. Hashem got angry at Moshe Rabbeinu also by the eagle. What it means is not physical anger. Okay? Anger basically, again, it's the concept of anger. When does a person get angry? When things don't go his way. If things go your way, then you're not angry. When does a person get angry? In the broad sense of the word. You get angry, your kids don't listen to you, it's not going, you get angry. You lose money in business, you get angry. I mean, whatever it is, anger is because things are not going your way. Okay? When klipa exists, Hashem gets angry, meaning it's not going the way it's not happening the way Hashem wants it to. It's not physical anger. Just like speech doesn't mean he physically spoke. It's a revelation of a concept. Anger means the fact of being upset that things are not going the way you want it to go. When a yid sins, Hashem gets angry.
God must know how exactly anger feels, otherwise he couldn't create it in us.
Does God know what it means to see?
Of course.
Not in our form of sight, though. Hashem doesn't need glasses, even though he's very old.
But he must experience it so that he can create.
In a spiritual way. You don't think you're right.
He doesn't know even what it is or how it is.
When you come to Wednesday, you remember the Vayeitzei Shabbos? Over there's a pasuk from Tilim, Hanaita Eisen Hala Yishma, Im Yotzer Ayin Ala Yabit. It says, David HaMelech says, if God can make an ear, can he not hear? If he forms an eye, can he not see? Yeah, but what it means is, what does it mean? It means that by Hashem, the power, by us, power and potential and reality are two different things. By Hashem, it's all the same thing. Hashem sees, it's a Vayar Hashem. Okay, what do you mean? He saw like me and you see. And he did. What does it mean seeing by, again, Hashem speaks. When Torah uses physical terminologies by Hashem, it doesn't mean, like the Rambam says, Chas v'sholom, to say that it means a physical thing. It means the way these things are in human terms, the concept, not literally, the concept of speech, anger, seeing, okay, hearing is, just like by us we learn, the concept of speech is to reveal something hidden. When godliness reveals, when Hashem reveals hidden godliness, it's called speech. 1 second. When a person looks at something, what's the concept of seeing? When you see something, seeing is believing, it becomes one with you. It becomes one with you. Therefore, you can never refute it. If I saw it, you could bring me a million proofs I didn't see, but I saw it. Okay. Anger, like we said, is when it's not going your way, so then you're upset, meaning Elokus wants to be revealed and it's not being revealed. But it's not the anger like we get angry at another guy for messing us up. It's the concept of it. So yes, Hashem sees and talks and hears. Koyamar Hashem, Hashem says, right, the Torah Shabbos and Shchedesh. Hashemayim kisi, Hashem says, the heaven is my chair, and the earth is my footstool. Yeah? You find all these human terms when it comes to Hashem. Chas v'sholom, Hashem's taking a seat, have a seat. Remember him? Have a seat. Hashem doesn't sit, he doesn't talk. What's the concept of sitting? Sitting is, you lower yourself down. Right? What is sitting? When a person sits, like this, they're up, and now they lower themselves down, they sit. So when godliness comes down into a lower level, it's called sitting. It's just the concept, it's not Hashem says body and he...
Can God endow us with a certain sensation without knowing how it feels or not?
No, Hashem knows everything.
Did he ever himself?
No.
No?
No. Because that's not what it means.
How can one create something that doesn't even know what it is?
That's why he's God and we and you are not. One of the many reasons. Okay, weiter. Yaakov Avinu Olav Shalem Rot Alaleisim Lamaila Maila. What was the Aved of Yaakov? So like this. Elokus comes into Charan, right? Elokus lowers itself in such a way that it makes Hashem angry. It's the worlds that deny the existence of God. Yeah? Can you imagine? I make you, and then you deny my... it's not that I did you a favor and you don't say thank you. Your existence is dependent on me, and you don't even realize I exist. That's what Charan is. The existence of the world, Hashem, they say, where's God? There's no God. That's what they say. So what did Yaakov Avinu want to accomplish by going to Charan? Yaakov Avinu wanted to make that Charan should have the feeling of Be'er-Sheva. Yaakov wanted that in Charan, in a place that denies the existence of Hashem, over there to bring the loftiest levels of Kedusha, to elevate the world. And in fact, where were the 11 Shvatim born? In Charan. Just Binyamin wasn't. But all the other, where did he build Klal Yisrael? Klal Yisrael was built in Charan, not even in Eretz Yisrael. Just Binyamin.
It's not in Eretz Yisrael, it's in Iraq or something.
Oh, physically? Charan, yeah. Babel is Iraq.
It's not part of Eretz Yisrael.
No.
Did Yaakov knew this is what he's doing at that time?
Let me ask you a question. You don't think Yaakov Avinu learned Chassidus? Didn't he learn Torah? He didn't learn this Maimer? Of course he did. So Yaakov Avinu knew what he was doing.
I thought Chassidus came after Tzemach Tzedek.
No. Chassidus was given at Har Sinai.
14 years he had to learn this.
Right.
He prepared himself for the
You can ask a simple, better question. If Yaakov Avinu learned in Yeshiva 14 years, he definitely learned. What did he learn?
connection of Hashem.
Straight line.
Okay, so the Ramban in his introduction says, what was Torah before? How did the others learn Torah? Torah was one long word. The whole Chumash was one, this is what the Ramban writes in his introduction. The whole Torah was one word. So you can take the word Bereshis. You can learn Bar, Eish. I mean, you can connect the words in a million different ways, and it's all Torah. Trust me, Yaakov didn't learn the story that Yosef was sold into slavery, and he didn't know about it, and he was going to find. I mean, come on. He didn't learn it. If you learned it, what's he upset about?
Obviously, Noah knew the concept of Tameh and Tahor.
Correct.
So that means that he learned the concept, that concept properly from the one word of Torah.
Whatever it means in a literal sense. I don't know. So he says, Yaakov, Shomrat Aleitz, Gam Lamata, Bechinas Yichud, Ubeto Mamish, so what did Yaakov Avinu want to accomplish? By the way, this is the mission of every Jew. We go out into business, we go out into the world. It doesn't matter if you're Yeshiva Bach or not. You go out into the world, which is Olam Helam concealment, void of godliness, and therefore all the corruption, Sheker. Sheker is the opposite of Emes. Hashem is Emes. The world of Sheker out there, you're going out there, and what's the purpose of a Jew going out there? To bring the level of Kedusha into the world of business. That's the whole avodah of a Jew on a daily basis. Is generally speaking, the neshama comes into the body. By the way, it says in Chassidus, Vayeitzei Yaakov Be'er-Sheva refers to the neshama going out of the world where Mashbi and Eisei Tihi Tzadik Val Tirosha, where they give him the Koyach of Elokus, and where does it go? Charon, to the Nefesh Abamis in the Guf. That's where Hashem is angry. That's the avodah of every single Jew. We get this Koyach because Yaakov Avinu did it. Yeah, what's the purpose? Because when you transform Charon to Kedusha, so then it's a whole different story. Okay. Into Rina, correct. Oh, you remember this Maimer. Good. Well, therefore it says, now we can understand The Alter Rebbe asked, what's the stone story going on over here? A lot about stones. He said, now we can understand, he took me'avnei hamokim. What do you mean he took from the stones of the place? Yehinei neida, shavonim, nikraisius, in Svarim, even in Chakira Svarim, stones are called letters. Stones are called letters. Why? Like it says in Sefer Yetzirah, Shnei avonim beinu shtei batim. 2 stones create 2 houses. Shalosh avonim beinu shisha batim. And 3 stones create 6 houses. Meaning like this. If you have 2 letters, Aleph, Beis, you can make 2 combinations. Aleph, Beis, Beis, Aleph. If you have 3 stones, you can make 3 combinations. You know, they tell a story, there was a guy, a worker for a Chinese emperor, did a big job for him. And finally the king said, how can I pay you? So the guy said, I want you to take a chessboard and put a rice, 1 grain of rice on the first, whatever, square, yeah, thank you, and double it. Keep doubling it. The emperor thought this guy's an idiot. He's going to get nothing. The pearl, if it's 2, then 4, then 8, and so by the time you get to the 64th square in chess, it was like warehouses and warehouses and warehouses of the guy became a rich man. And that's the story with letters. 2 letters create 2 words, 3 letters create 3 words, 6 words, and it keeps, it's a mathematical formula for it.
3 letters make at least 9 words.
No, 6 it says. You can't. It's 6. Take a paper and do it, you'll see. You can make 6, whatever. And then it keeps going. Okay, so just like this, the marshal like this. How do you build a house? With stones. So many stones build a house. Many houses build a block. Many blocks build a neighborhood. The city. Okay. So many letters build a word. Many words make a sentence. Many sentences make a paragraph. Many paragraphs make a chapter. Chapter books. That's the same thing. So in Sefer Yetzirah, which is the Sefer Hashem created the world with, by the way, it says that Kamei Sheme'avonim Harbe Nasa Bayisachot Shechelim Lador V'Seichai. Just like for many stones, you create a house that you can live in. Kamei Keme'esi is Harbe. From a lot of letters, Nasa Tevis become words. Shebeh Mislab Shasa Seichel that comes into. Number 1. V'gam Kamei Shavonim Eim Daimim Madrega Yesa Tachteina. The stones are the inanimate to the lowest of all levels. From all the 4 elements, not elements, creations of the inanimate, plant, animal, and human, the same thing, letters have no meaning. Letters by themselves basically have no meaning. It's only when you put letters in a certain form, that's when it's a keli to the seichel. But the letters themselves are daimim, inanimate. They're nothing. So he says, that's the level of world. And he says, Nimsa movami kol anal. Sha'avonim nikra esis. Letters are called, stones are called letters. Or kamekin or lemaila, so it is lemaila. Like it said, Bidvad Hashem Shemayim Naso. Hashem made the world with letters, with words. Like it says, Malchus Malchus Kol Elamim. Pirush Shechai is Kol Ha'elamis. Shema Elamis Aden Ketz, which represents Kol Elamim, infinite worlds. Like it says, Ayesh Misper L'Gdudov Im Kol Zeh. Even though there's unlimited amount of spiritual and physical worlds, yeah? Nevertheless, their source only comes to Malchus. Malchus Kol Elam. What creates all the worlds? The level of Malchus. Like we know, Hashem created the world with speech. That means speech is the lowest of the lowest level of Elokus, Malchus. right? And Hashem created the world with the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. Li Hashem nivroim bali gvul, because they're limited. Sheyesh gvul lasagosim, there's a limited amount of their understanding. And even physically, ma'aretz l'rki malach takshana. Just in Shabbos and Sheyachat Bamuna. From the earth to the heaven is going to 500 years, the Gemara says. Ve'einam be'erech klal. And it's nothing. L'gabi er havaya shul b'chinas ein sof amizgala ba'el masayonim. In other words, like this. Limited worlds are infinite times nothing compared to the infinite level of Hashem. L'zais. So then, how can finite worlds receive infinite power of Hashem to exist? Malchus HaMalchus Kol Olam, the highest of all the world, comes from Malchus of Hashem, and that's infinite. That source is infinite. How in the world can finite creatures handle it? So that's the level of Tzimtzum. That's the way Hashem limits himself. Just like Seichel. If you want to teach somebody something, you want to give over Seichel, you have to limit it in words. So, but the words are limitation to the extent that the letters themselves are inanimate objects. So Hashem the same way, Kaviyachol, put his infinite power, Ein Yochelim Lekabel Chayusam, without going from Devar Havaya, Shem Eis Yeshenivru B'Hem Shemayim V'Aretz, which are daimon, Legabi Erin Tzal, which are nothing, the inanimate compared to Hashem. Like it says, Kodesh Hashem Tzvokes, the Maimon Eisa B'Tziv, Hav Shem Elef Halafim Lef, it says, Elef Halafim, there's infinite amount of worlds, but nevertheless, Me'ach Hashem Bali Gvul, because they're limited. Eina Ela Eis Elchad Bilvad is only from one letter, which is Daimim Lagami, Lagabi Shem Havai Ein Sof. So again, what's the level of Choron? He's explaining why Yaakov Avinu took Avnei Hamokim. Avonim represents Elokus coming down in a very limited form. What did Yaakov do with the inanimate stones? He put it around his head. He elevated stones, daimim, inanimate, around his head means makif, over the head, to a level of Kedusha higher than Chochmah. That's what he did. Avanim represents the lowest level, like speech. What did he do? He took Avnei Hamokim, the Avanim, and he put it around his head, meaning elevated this stones of world all the way up to Elokus.